We're on, huh? Excellent, excellent, excellent. We're doing a mini board update so that people know kind of what's going on and we can get some information, news that you can use at the present time as to what's going on. Thank you so much, Reverend Denise, Reverend Larry, for your talk about the Q process, because that's extremely important as we get ready to move into a mission-centric ministry. And thank you for that whole introduction.
Absolutely.
There are 5 of us now. That's right. There are 5 coaches.
There's 5.
Yeah, there's 5. There's Reverend Denise, Reverend Levitt, Reverend Margie, Mary Paulson, and then me. Yeah. I will be in the real future. Yeah. That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. Great. Well, as we start working on that, it's going to be extremely important as we start looking at the church's Q card as well. And that will be coming up before too long. We'll be trying to do a church Q card as to what is the church's shadow. What is the church's Q card? What is this church here to do, to be? And that is going to be so exciting. It's going to be so much fun to be able to work on. So stay focused for that part. Slide. If you could do a full screen, that would be great. I would appreciate that. And we're in slide 3, the board committees. So for everybody, I know that you noticed last week, we talked about all of the board's committees. There are 10 board committees at the present time, and all 10 of them have now finished their charter. And you say, well, why do we have a charter? What's that whole purpose? The important part of the charter is so that when you get ready to look at what committee would you like to be on, you can look at the whole charter. You can look at the responsibilities, the duties, what it takes, what the qualifications are to be on each of the committees. So do look through all of the committees. They are on the website, and the people that are currently assigned or nominated and elected by the board are on the website. Look at them. Make sure that your name is on there. And if your name isn't on there and you want to be on there, please jump right in. Let us know, because the board would love to be able to look at additional people to put on the board, onto the committees. Most of the committees are fairly full, but there's always turnover and there's always a chance to be able to move into those committees. There's a lot of you that are very, very qualified at being able to be on some of the committees because of your expertise. So please share that expertise with us, because we would love to have you on the committees with us. Next slide was with regards to Premier Restoration. It's as you well remember, about 4 or 5 months ago, we had a backup of sewage that backed up into the lower campus, and there was an obstruction that occurred between the church's sewage part and the city's main sewage line. And all of that sewage backed up. And because it backed up into the lower campus area, the cottage area, which is where the preschool all is, we had to close all of that down, and we had to get a mitigation company to come in, because obviously sewage into areas of a preschool needs to be taken care of expeditiously, professionally, and thoroughly. So walls were taken out, everything was sprayed, everything was debugged, de-germed to be able to get everything sterilized. It's all now fixed back up. But because of the COVID and because of this being a church, we found out actually that because this is a business as well, that the insurance that we have doesn't cover that, because it was an obstruction that was a low pressure obstruction, and they just don't cover it when it comes to sewage. Therefore, we went back to the restoration company and said, would you work with us? They were willing to work with us, and blessings to them, they reduced the price overall by $20,000. So we are very grateful that we are able to get that done for a bit lower price than what initially it was, particularly since insurance won't be covering. Next slide, with regards to financial report, due to the coronavirus requirements and the reduced number of staff that are able to be here at the present time in the sanctuary, you're going to have to put up with me. I know that you would rather hear Debbie's articulate, quick, concise, very right on kinds of comments, but hang in there with me for just a little bit and we'll see what we can do with being able to get everything discussed. We are going to bring all of the accounting back in-house. The reason that we're going to do that is because the accounting firm that we have that has been doing it for us for the last year and a half, 2 years, has had some issues with losing an accountant. We needed to be able to bring it in-house because whenever we were talking with the accountant or the accounting firm, we were not getting answers as quickly and as thoroughly as we needed. So we're going to bring that all back in-house and make sure that we have got better continuity for everyone. We ask the board, and the board approved the hiring of a steward of finance. That information went out on April the 12th, and the position closed on April the 19th. We had an applicant that was very, very good. There was only one, and we have hired her, and Lisa Inslee will start in that position on May the 1st. Which is a wonderful thing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. It's really nice to have somebody that has been around for a long time, that knows all of the system and knows how things work and can integrate right in and be able to assimilate with the rest of the staff in such a nice and expeditious way. Next slide. By doing so, we're going to bring all of our books back in through QuickBooks Online so that particularly in this time frame when we've got a reduced ability to be on campus, we can have people that can input a lot of the information into QuickBooks Online and work remotely. We think that this will bring in much more comprehensive and cleaner reports, particularly it will alleviate the difficulties that we've had with not being able to get reports as quickly. And for a period of time, we were having difficulties because we didn't know exactly where we were financially, and we weren't able to get a hold of people when it was downtown. This way, we'll be able to have it here, and we will be able to do it immediately. The March financial statements are online. Look there, and you can look at all of those, and they're on the website. Next slide. As you would expect, during the COVID crisis and the difficulties that we've had a decrease in donations. This month of March, we recorded a $5,000 deficit over the expected or the projected budget that we had. You may ask, well, what can I do to be able to help that? Probably the most important thing that you can do is to sign up for direct deposit, auto deposit, so that we can be assured that money will be coming in routinely and expectedly. I think it's extremely important to remember that we are tithing not to the church, but we are tithing as source, because we are the source. We, as we move into mission-centric ministry, are going to be the source that will keep this church alive and functioning and blessing and healing and donating to this whole community what is important to be able to make the community a better, more wholesome place. Next slide. The Paycheck Protection Plan, Paycheck Protection Plan. We were so proud of ourselves. We were wonderful. We got everything in. We were here till about 10, 11 o'clock on the Thursday night when on the East Coast it had already turned Friday. We thought that we were golden because we got everything in advance of the time frame, or right at the beginning of the time frame. We checked with the bank frequently, asking, where are we? What have we done? Are we okay? And the story that we got was, well, at the present time, we really can't tell you because all of the workers are working on them and we're not to bother them. We were quite dismayed and quite disappointed when we found out that even though we took a screenshot of our submission, that we weren't in the queue and that somehow something had happened. Because we did have a screenshot and the bank said, blessings, we appreciate the fact that you did get it in time. They put us at the top of the queue for phase 2. So please keep the church and the preschool in your prayers. that we are able to get money from the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan, because in fact there's a fair amount of personnel, as you well understand, when you combine the church with the preschool. We are certainly wanting to be able to make sure that the preschool is well funded and being able to take care of things, particularly in light of the fact that the preschool does such a great job of being able to work with the children and make a difference in this world. That brings us to the Unity School. It's extremely important to also realize that we have developed a marvelous, wonderful, collaborative relationship now with the preschool. Again, we are working hand in hand collaboratively and with love and with generosity of spirit. The preschool committee is working that whole area out well. It's composed of the school administration, parents from the school, people that have been involved with the school for many, many years, as well as from the board. And I am very, very pleased and very proud of the work that is being done. As you well know, the church preschool has a reputation that spans the whole state, and people love to get their children into the Unity Preschool because it is looked at as being such a wonderful feeder school. And I hope I can say this one without getting choked up, but it just warms my heart and touches me when parents of the children that are in the preschool come to me to tell me that they were students at this preschool, and that in the process of coming through this preschool, they develop such warm, close relationships with other students, and that when they get into Punahou, Iolani, and other schools on island, that their best friends and the ones that they love the most are the children that they went to school with here at Unity School. So blessings and blessings to the staff that foster relationships, positive relationships, and make a difference, make a huge difference, not only in this church, but in this world, because it is amazing what the preschool does to be able to warm, bring up, and foster wonderful relationships, personal relationships that make a difference in their lives and in the world. I realize that this has been a fairly short update, and I look forward to the time when we can sit down and have a longer conversation with total transparency that's a little easier to do when we are doing it one-on-one in a group, and being able to get that all to work more expeditiously and smoother. But know that this is a beautiful community, that in fact this church is making a huge difference in the world and in this community as we continue with things like the Q process that was mentioned earlier in the sermon. Join us now, if you will, with the breakouts. And what I will do is join you in with the breakout room as well for the connection. And as soon as we are able to do that, if there are questions that you have for the board, I will go into a breakout room with you and we can answer some of those. So blessings and blessings to all of you. And this will conclude the board update. So blessings to all of you. Join us up in the chat rooms in just a few minutes.